Hey, you guys, I'm Dr. Cade, and I'm sitting here with Coach Kaysen.
What's up?
How are you, buddy?
Good. How
Awesome.
are you, man?
Hey, good. So we did this once before, nutrition talk. Let's jump into it.
Yep.
There is so much to talk about, so I'm going to warn anybody who's like jumping into this right now. This is long. This is long. But we try to do this in a way that is comprehensive, timeless, and you can kind of chunk up. So we're going to jump into the details of it here. And again, there's your warning.
Let's go.
All right, there we go. So my name is Dr. Cade, and been in practice down here in Naples, Florida since 2010. Just love doing what I do. Absolutely get to serve people every single day. It's amazing. Before I'm a practitioner, I am a daddy. Been married for coming up on 20 years and got a bunch of crazy kiddos. Love them all so much. I love you guys. That's why I'm here doing this.
Hey, what's up? That's me. I'm Coach Kaysen. I do the functional medicine in the office here and get to work with my best buddy, Dr. Cade, every day. And this is my family, Chancey and Cutler. Not as many as Cade's, but they're the same. That's why I do what I do.
Awesome. Okay, so goal of the talk today is to remove confusion, because I think for a lot of people, like maybe even sometimes us as practitioners, there's a lot going on with food, and things are changing, right? Things are changing a lot right now. So I want to try to remove the confusion and help bring clarity. So disclaimers today, if you've never gone through food stuff, this is the first time, like it might feel like you're drinking out of a fire hose. There's a warning. We are going to talk fast, but this is YouTube. There is slow motion and you can come back.
Or you can speed it up.
Okay, so here we go. There is so many keywords out there with nutrition. There's so many keywords. So we've listed a handful of them on here, okay? And again, the goal of today is to make this timeless, things that you don't have to adhere to a specific diet. These are principles that you can take with you. We put this together in a good, better, best format so that like, if you've got family in town, you can do the best you can if you guys go out to eat. Or if you're on a budget, you can pick the best you can depending on that budget. Is that fair to say? Anything you want to add to that on how we kind of set this up?
No, that's perfect. Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay.
We'll get into it. We're going to get into it way more, so yeah.
So if we were really good at editing YouTube videos, we'd be able to put timestamps on fats and sugars and proteins. At the end, we're going to kind of talk a little bit about toxicity. So there's the way that you can chunk it up. And again, good, better, best program. So before we jump into nutrition, we have to give you a rant. How healthy are we these days? How healthy are we these days?
We sick.
Man, we're in rough shape, right? We are in rough shape.
Fatter, more autoimmune than ever.
Yeah, and people are still looking to this guy for answers. People are still looking to these for answers, and this for answers. And for those of you that don't like that stuff, a lot of us look to this for answers, and maybe even these oils for answers, right? So at the end of the day, the truth is the greatest doctor in the world lives inside you, right? And this food is either going to be a way that is going to help that doctor, that intelligence inside of you heal better and work better, or it's going to hinder it and be a hurdle to that.
Yep.
Anything you want to say to that?
Yeah, we're turning on new genes in new ways by eating these foods that we're eating. So yeah.
You have the science to prove that?
Epigenetics.
Can you show me your source?
Yeah, let me get my Chat GPT out.
All right. So what Kaysen just said is the truth. There is science, there is resources to show that, the food that you eat does change genes for the better, for the worse, right? And there is science also to show that depending on how you receive this talk, that your genes actually will change based off of if you're having a positive influence from this or a negative influence. So what I would say is warn you, turn this off now before it gets too negative, because we're going to get negative first before I start giving you some answers. We just talked about right now that we're a pretty sick society, and I think the point of the next couple slides here is just how sick we really are. So let's go through a couple statistics. There's more people overweight than there are normal weight in America, right? According to the American Cancer Society, 1 out of every 3 women will get cancer and 1 out of every 2 men will get cancer in their lifetime. American Heart Association says that 1 out of every 2 people will die from heart disease in this country. So if it ain't cancer, it's heart disease, right? Diabetes is so bad that I think it was 2030, they say that 1 out of every 3 people will get diabetes. Autism used to be 1 out of every 36, but now in California, I think it's, what did I say the other day? Is it 1 out of 19?
I don't know. It's a what is that?
We came ready for this talk with these statistics. They're rock solid. So the latest number, I can't remember, out of California, not the whole state or not the whole country of America, but the state of California, autism is either 1 out of every 18 kids get autism or 1 out of every 19.
It's a teen. That's what I was thinking.
Which
it's
is
teen.
Devastating. Yeah. It's crazy to think that. Yeah. And we're the only country in the world, as of when I put these statistics together, that life expectancy is actually going backwards. And that's never supposed to ever be that way, that our older generations are going to live longer than our younger generations.
Something is killing us.
Oh, man. Okay. So, should we go through this too? Should we skip this or should we go through this?
No, let's talk about this, because humility is the answer here, because we used to think that these things were healthy, right? So we need to have a reality check, like we talked about, that we still don't know what the heck we're talking about. So yeah, talk to him, Cade.
Well, doctors used to prescribe cigarettes for houseflies disease, right? And now looking back, like we know that's crazy, right? Mm-hmm. But that was the gold standard of care. Mm-hmm. And how about this from the Soda Pop Board of America? I don't know the exact date on this, but it's crazy. This is something that we still talk about all the time in our office. Is this Soda Pop Board was literally trying to persuade families to start their kids on soda, carbonated, sugary beverages. Mm-hmm. And it says at the bottom of this one, like, if you're doing that early with your child, there's a guarantee of lifetime happiness. That's what the advertisement said. Like, it's crazy to think that. But nowadays, how many advertisements and marketing are we getting that are the same thing that we're buying into, thinking that it's going to create guaranteed happiness or health for our children or our family, but it's going to create, diabetes or heart disease or lung cancer later on. It's wild to think about, right? So the way that we think is that the sign of a good doctor does not prescribe cigarettes. It's actually how many medications we can get you off of, right? Because we're certainly healthy if we're not dependent on a medication than we are on 17 of them.
And supplements.
Absolutely. Ooh, great point. Yeah. Great point, Coach. Yep. Another reason I love you so much. That's awesome. So with all that being said, what is the most important thing that we have? Coach, what's your answer?
Our health.
Besides that?
Our happiness.
Besides that?
I can't remember.
I thought you were going for Jesus. I thought you were going to go straight to Jesus.
God, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it's our health, right? Because if we don't have our health, we can't really live our purpose that we're called to do from God, from Jesus, whatever it is that you want to say. Mm-hmm. And Hippocrates said this 400 AD, a long, long time ago. Coach and I are just another messenger along the way. And at some point, hopefully this message rings true in your house. Mm. All right, jump into it finally.
Oh, now we get to talk about nutrition.
This nutrition talk was not about nutrition, but now it is. All right, so another one that Hippocrates said, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. Love that. So here we go. Here's some of the resources among the many, many, many that we pulled from. Lots of wonderful books. And I think it should go without saying, if you're listening to this, if you know us, we're just a couple of dumb guys. These are not our ideas, but we're pulling from people that are way smarter than us and putting it together in a way that hopefully is doable and understandable and can make an impact on your life. Thanks for being dumb with me, Coach.
Yeah, man.
I love you. Here we go. All right. Joke of the day. Don't step on it. It'll make you cry. That's all the scale's for. And that's all that food is for too, right? All that our diet is for. It has nothing to do with being healthy. It's just hitting that number.
Yeah. I want to lose weight.
Man. Get in that bikini for bikini season. Okay, here we go. We're going to start it out by talking about fats, and we're going to tag proteins into it, and you'll see how we blend those two things together. So I'm going to go back a slide. Coach, fat's gotten kind of a bad rap.
Yeah, fat, they said made you fat, but it doesn't.
What do you think, the viewer? Fat, is it good or bad? And before I go to the next slide, which I think you probably already saw, are fats good or bad? Is fat in our food good or bad? Well, Coach, what do you think? Take it away.
It's great. It just is about the right fat. So our food has been hijacked to have all the wrong fats in it. But yeah, every single one of our cells is surrounded by a phospholipid bilayer that is the cell membrane. This is how the cells communicate. All hormones are made of fat, testosterone, estrogen, adrenaline, all that stuff. 70% of our brain, I thought it was 60%, but I guess it's 70% of our brain and nerve systems are fats. Yeah, it is the signaling chemical in our body. We need it. We need to absorb it. We need to eat the right kinds of it. It's everything.
Coach just flexed there. He said a big word, phospholipid bilayer. You want to just elaborate that really quick, and that how if we don't have maybe the right type of fats, what happens there at that cell layer?
Yeah, so when you phospholipid is a fat, and so when we eat a fat, that fat is getting broken down and then used in our body for something. And one of the big things is the membrane of the cell. So if we're eating soybean oil and canola oil and safflower oil and sunflower oil, those huge topics right now, seed oils, then our cells are going to be made out of those seed oils. And we know now that like we're going to burn in the sun easier when we have seed oil surrounding our skin cells than if not. So, yeah.
Or how about so many of the people out there that are looking for hormone replacement therapy but are on a low-fat diet? Are they going to get anywhere?
No.
How about this?
Or eating the wrong fats, yeah.
Yeah. And how about, this epidemic of Alzheimer's and dementia and neurologic disorders like depression and anxiety? And again, we're pumping in bad fats or the wrong fats or not enough fat, right?
Or you're not breaking down the fat, which I'm going to hammer on big time because that's what I see every day in my practice is people not absorbing it. But yeah, 70% of your brain is fat. So how are you going to function optimally?
Yeah, awesome points. All awesome points. Okay, let's jump into it. So again, told you how dumb we are. I feel like I'm even dumber than an ant here, or maybe some of the rest of the population is too. Yeah. Because if you put a part butter on a plate here out on your doorstep and then a chunk of margarine out there, the ants are going to know immediately which one is healthier.
Except for that one.
Oh man.
He's really dumb.
Me and ant form right there. Maybe he's just exploring over there. All right. So ants know that there's substance, there's something usable there in real butter versus the synthetic margarine. Can't believe it's not butter type over there. Nothing healthy there. And the ants know it. Mother Nature knows. Okay. So this is how we're going to set it up with you guys. As many of these topics as possible, we're going to go through a good, better, best. And some of these, the good isn't good. The good is poison, which we've tried to kind of highlight that in red on this slide. But we're at the top of the slide is going to be the worst things, and we're going to work our way down to the best options. And again, what we're teaching here is not a diet, right? That you can eat this and only this and you can't touch that stuff. All you can do is the best you can do in whatever situation you're in. Okay. All right, Coach, take it away. Which are the bad ones, worst ones here?
Well, the seed oils. This is all the red that you see here are seed oils, because they're being processed in a way that is highly oxidative. So basically, they're it's too much science, but they're very, very harmful when they get into our system and they try and steal or grab electrons from another molecule and they jack us up.
I'm gonna button up my shirt and I'm just gonna jump into that too much science. So I'm just gonna do it the silliest, most simplest way that I can. If I went into an organic sunflower field and grabbed a sunflower seed and ate it right off of that sunflower, totally awesome, wonderful, right? But when I take that seed and we spray it with GMO stuff and pesticides, there's one strike against it, if you will. If we take that seed, if it was organic and not pesticide laden, whatever the word is there, and we bring it to a source to express the oil out of that so we can go cook with it, typically, a lot of these seed oils, sunflower, safflower, canola, what are some of the other ones? Soybean, corn oil, right? Peanut oil. They're exposed to remarkably high heats to pull that oil out, right? And you'll notice a trend in a lot of this stuff. We're going to use the words like raw meaning that it wasn't exposed to heat, right? When heat hits these fats, it denatures the fat structure, meaning it turns it from something good into something that's rancid. And a perfect example that many of us have been guilty of is if we're cooking with olive oil or another oil that we go past the smoking point and you can smell or you can taste that oil is now rancid. Or another example would be leaving milk out of the cooler and it curdling and it turning rancid, right? That changed that fat structure when it's exposed to heat, right? Anything else that we should say there?
Yeah, it's doing the same thing to that fat molecule. The fat is like a kind of like a kite with a string on the end. When it has to push through, because to get the fat out of the seed, they have to push it through something very tight, and that changes the structure of the fat. So not only are you heating it to change the structure, but you're pressing it to change the structure.
And a lot of the companies out there know this. So, some of them are pumped full of dyes or colorings, right? Or fragrances to make these oils not have that rancid, rotten flavor and taste.
You could see that on the butter slide with the ant. You could see how they had colored it a brighter yellow.
Super interesting.
Yep.
Okay. Well,
Yep.
Coach, what are some of the best ones?
Yeah, well, olive oil, organic, extra virgin olive oil from Europe, probably because America, we don't really do things so clean here. Avocado oil, I like avocado oil, but it's starting to like come out that avocado oil might have some of these processings that can bother the fats like we're talking about, but still much better choice than canola. Raw butter and ghee, these are my absolute favorite. I don't think you can get better than raw butter or ghee. Ghee has a higher smoke point, like Dr. K was talking about. Like you can cook at higher temperatures with ghee because they've taken some of the proteins out of the butter. It's just clarified butter. And then unrefined coconut oil. So coconut is ancient. It's been used in so many different cultures around the world, and this is just a expression of the oil that you can use to cook or top things or make sauces.
And I will definitely agree with Coach. The butter, the raw, organic grass-fed butter, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit, is definitely the key. That's the best. That's our favorite. Yeah. Awesome. Can't go wrong.
Let me say something about butter real quick. It's got vitamins A, D, E, and K already packaged in it because of dairy milk, which has good stuff in it. So, yeah.
I think he just said dairy milk. I'm going to call it that from now on.
Instead of mom's milk,
That's
what
true.
kind of milk we drinking.
Okay. All right. So before we get into animal-based stuff, we're going to talk about good sources of protein and fat from plant-based sources. So, Coach, why are peanuts not an ideal thing?
Yeah. Well, gosh, we don't.
Are modern-day peanuts? Modern day.
Okay. Well, number one, they put canola oil on top of them to make them taste better because fat brings out taste in that peanut. Number two, there's these things called lectins in peanuts, and they're in a lot of these as well, but they're a plant protein
protective layer.
That's a protection that can cause inflammation. So Dr. Stephen Gundry wrote a book called The Plant Paradox. It's pretty cool because it just breaks down some ideas that, we're not really thinking like in our modern world, but it's interesting. And peanuts, he says that 84% of people have a peanut allergy. So very interesting. But then on the other side, I know we're on the worst case scenario right here, but on the other side of the spectrum, I've read that peanuts have high copper content. So like some people are low in copper, so you might need a peanut, but it's the quality of the peanut that really matters.
The quality, I think it molds easily as well, right? And I think we've done a good job at tainting that crop because of its popularity, right? Yep. So many of the peanut products that are out there, either the canola, like you said, or associated with a lot of sugar or artificial stuff, which we'll talk about here in a little bit too. But yeah, it's super interesting. So, okay. So on the flip side, what are some of your favorites on this list?
I love pistachios. I love pistachios. I love almonds. Those are just like I like cashews as well. They're just a better like taste to me.
Yep, me too.
But the thing is, and my big thing on these nuts is you got to watch the oils that are put into them because they're putting oil on top of these nuts. Usually it's canola, sunflower to make them taste better. But dude, we were just reading about hemp seeds and they're phenomenal because they're a complete protein. Yeah. So I'm sure we're going to talk about that in the protein slide. But
I think I don't know if we'll get that far in it later on. But I think what Coach, I'm gonna double down on hemp seeds too. I think hemp seeds and chia seeds are an incredible source of both protein and fat. But this list as a whole here, I think there are some things that we need to make sure we're doing. Reading the ingredients, even. If you're just picking up some like nuts that are roasted, we got to watch them being roasted, right? Because that heat can change the fat and the structure. Raw is huge. Even if you're getting raw seeds, it's super easy for companies to put canola oil again because or another type of oil, sunflower, safflower oil, because it heightens that flavor profile along with sugar. So read your ingredients, which is going to be another thing we'll talk about later on. Good?
Yeah, man.
All right, on to the next. All right, let's jump into animal products. Okay,
let's go.
If you're going to eat beef, which I certainly do, I love animal products. I love beef. Right?
If
you're going to eat it, when you're going to eat it,
thank you.
There are some keywords that you have to make sure that you're touching on. Coach, what do they need to be?
Grass. What do cows eat? Grass. Yeah. Grass fed. Grass finished.
Ooh, so there's some keys there. So if it says grass-fed, That doesn't necessarily mean that the cow has eaten grass its entire life. So it
No,
either has to
because we
say,
live in America, and they hoodwink the heck out of us.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
I think that a cow can be called grass-fed, or beef can be sold as grass-fed, marketed as grass-fed, when the cow has eaten grass up to 70% of its life. So meaning you could have a cow on pasture eating good grass in Florida and then send it to the feedlot and feed it corn, Skittles,
grains and soy.
all the stuff to fatten it up, and it still
Stimulate the
could be
appetite.
sold as grass-fed.
There was a bit of drama years ago about farmers getting in trouble for feeding the animals sugar to stimulate their appetite to eat more. And again, the reason why we do it is the bigger, the fatter they are, the more they sell for at the auction or whatever, the slaughterhouse. But again, also the bigger, fatter it makes us.
Yep.
So we talked about grass-fed. We talked about grass finished and the differences between those two sayings, and 100% grass fed is another way to look at it, right? Now, in the opposite, conventional, if you will, if we're going to go to McDonald's, if we're going to go to Taco Bell, if we're going to go get, Publix, what is it called? Greenwise, right?
Oh, yeah.
What's the difference between being grass fed and what are the other animals eating? Or the other type of beef?
Well, they could be eating grass as well, but I think one thing we need to talk about is organic. Right?
Yeah,
because if the grass is sprayed with Roundup, right, then that cow is eating Roundup, right? But if a cow is eating corn, typically corn's GMO, so genetically modified, and that's sprayed with Roundup, or it's Roundup resistant. So they're eating chemicals and something like corn that their bellies aren't, accustomed to breaking down.
So Kaysen's getting one slide ahead of us right now because we're going to jump into that on the next slide.
Yeah, why don't you just say it then?
No, you're good. Well, you know what? We got two cameras. We had to put somebody here. What else do you want to say about beef? Is it just steak and ground beef or is it other stuff too?
Dairy.
Okay, good.
Their milk.
Yeah, we'll talk about that too. So organic is important.
Yep.
Grass-fed, 100% grass-fed or grass-fed, grass-finished is important. Those are the keywords that we're looking for, right? And then anything else? On beef.
I think you're hinting to something.
All right.
Sit on the next slide.
Let's go to the next slide. Before I jump into dairy, let's do this because Coach was alluding to what that animal is eating, right? And how that feed was being treated. So if you, our dear listeners, had to choose between if your budget only allowed for buying organic animal products or organic produce, and we're going to pretend you're not vegan or vegetarian right now, right? That you're going to choose, you're eating animal products. Which one do you, dear listener, is more important, right? And over the years, I always ask this question to people who come to our nutrition talk. Most people will say produce, which is interesting. But what Coach was just saying, that we are what that animal that we're eating eats, right? And again, we just talked about corns and grains and soy for typical feedlot animals or typical feedlot cows. But when that cow eats it, how has that grain been sprayed? How has that grass been sprayed? And so what they say is for 1 pound of ground beef, that cow had to eat on average 12 to 14 pounds of either grain or probably more grass than 12 to 14 pounds. So you're getting a concentration of whatever they're spraying on that feed. Does that make sense? Is that?
I get what you're saying here.
So you're getting 12 to 14 times concentrate of spraying or pesticides or Roundup or whatever when you're eating meat, because again, that animal had to eat that to produce it, versus if you're getting a pound of bananas, you're getting whatever sprayed on that specific banana. That makes sense? Or in that soil for that banana. Fair? So if you had to choose, buying organic animal products is way more important than buying organic produce. And again, we'll talk about something later on called the Clean 15 and Dirty Dozen to go on to that a bit more. Cool?
Cool.
All right, back to dairy products. What are dairy products, Coach?
Well, cheeses, milk, butter, whey protein. We're going to talk about that.
Yogurt.
Anything
else?
Yes, sour cream, cottage cheese.
Good.
And what's my other favorite?
Kefir?
Yeah, kefir.
Yeah? Okay,
yeah.
We'll talk about kefir later on. So any of those products need to have the same rules as beef, right? 100%. Ideally, that's what we're aiming for. That's the highest, best standard. Cool?
Yeah, to me, like the liquid of it, the cow's milk of it is like going to have some more chemical component. So I think it needs to be even a higher standard.
Okay. So here's their good, better, best for dairy and I guess alternative dairy products. So for us, the worst types of dairy that you could, or even worse than alternatives out there, would be the wrong type of dairy from a cow, right? Yeah. When that cow is eating the wrong things, it's exposed to Roundup and dairy, it's sitting on a feedlot, it's not a healthy animal. And then we take that, and remember we were talking about oils, right? And exposing that to high heat. Well, that's what the pasteurization process is, right? We're exposing dairy products from those cows to high heat to kill all the bad bacteria. But along with it, we're also killing all the good bacteria, right? Yep. We're denaturing the protein in that milk and dairy, and we're denaturing the fat structure. So we end up with something that's completely rancid when we're doing conventional dairy products. I think a close second is going to be rice and soy. Neither one of those have fat in it naturally, right? So for it not to taste like cardboard, if you're getting rice milk or soy milk, they're putting in a lot of bad fats and usually sugar flavorings in there too. Yep. Cool.
Throw oats in there as well. Oat milk. That's a big one now.
Yeah, and I should have put that, dang it, I missed that one. So thanks for hitting that. So healthier options are going to be plant-based that you see there. Make sure that you're buying it in a cooler. And Coach, hit them with your favorite.
Well, they're on the screen: coconut, almond, hemp, and flax. I prefer coconut milk just because you can get a higher fat profile. I love fat because that's a good, healthy fat. But best, gold standard, organic, grass-fed, raw, baby.
So we're hitting this talk here from Naples, Florida, and we've got some friends, we've got some patients, we've got some people in our circle that have their own cows, and you can get it available through them. Some wonderful folks down here in Southwest Florida. Yep. And then I guess commercially,
seed to table, food and thought.
Yep.
Like the best organic, 100% organic raw milk sold in a grocery store.
Lovely. Lovely. Okay, on to the next. Chicken and eggs. What's the gold standard there?
What came first?
Awesome.
Yeah, so pastured, where just kind of like a cow, a chicken needs to be out eating and foraging in the fields. So organic, right? So the field shouldn't be sprayed, and probably local. Like you should be able to know that farmer, see that chicken. Same with eggs.
And I'll go on a little tangent here. If you're cooking eggs, the less heat it's exposed to, the better, right? I'm keeping on with that theme of heat. So if you're going to make eggs, a sunny side up egg would be better than a scrambled egg, right? Less heat, especially for that yolk. The yolk is where all the good fat is, and choline is so good for your neurologic system. Amazing. Good. Cool.
Yeah, we're not against cooking, just so you know, right? But you can see how the heat exposure to these things changes the chemical structure. So,
you have a little raw liver on your lip there? Is that what? No, raw liver. Raw. Okay.
Oh,
bad joke. Bad joke. Okay.
You got me.
On to the next.
that matters. And so, the yolk is extremely important, not cooked.
Cool. How about piggies?
This is a tough one, man, because
it is.
There's so many people and cultures that don't eat pork because these things are smart. They're like really, really smart. So they'll eat anything. Yeah. And they'll eat a lot of junk. So typically in conventional farming, they're eating junk.
Slop, right? Yeah. And the part of the problem is that they've got a pretty primitive detoxification system. They don't sweat. We all know that. They go in the mud, and that's how they kind of cool their way down. Their detox organs, like their liver and their kidneys, are pretty poorly functioning and don't get rid of stuff. So, that's why that they have so much fat on them, right? And that's where the toxins typically go. Yeah, maybe why it tastes so dang good too. But we used to be hardcore no pork. I went probably 8 years.
Really?
No, yeah. And it's crept back into our life, and it's amazing.
Bacon.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, you can't beat bacon as far as taste.
Is there any healthy brands out there for bacon, and if you are going to do pork, any brands or any things to look out for?
I mean, that's what local. If you can find a farmer that does it right, like raises pigs organically and lets them forage and like feeds them their organic leftover produce, like awesome. Go to town there. But not many of us have that ability, but look for that. And then I would say Applegate is the easiest store-bought brand that I would trust.
Awesome. I think that's great. And if you can't get your hands on Applegate typically has an organic line and a non-organic line. Make sure if you don't have access to that brand that you're reading the label if there's added nitrites in it, and we'll talk about that later on.
There you go.
All right, fish. I know you and I don't necessarily see eye to eye on this.
Yeah. You're not a ocean guy. I just found out Cade does not like boats, like in the ocean. He doesn't want to be out there. So maybe that's why. But
or it's maybe just because I'm a wimp, but that's another topic. We'll leave that for our next video, part 2 of Nutrition Talk.
I like wild caught fish because there is a lot of benefit. Number 1 with protein, and number 2 with healthy fats. But there are some downsides too, which we'll go over. But yeah, you can get a high nutrient profile in fish with protein and fat.
And the key word of what he said there is wild caught. We're looking for wild caught fish, not farmed fish. Farmed fish, we're feeding them corns and grains and soy to stimulate the appetite again, getting them bigger, fatter, faster, making us bigger, fatter, faster, right? Yep. The smaller the fish, the better. And the word there is bioaccumulation, right? So when a bigger predator, say a shark, eats all sorts of other smaller things on the food chain, all of those toxins that the smaller things have come into contact with accumulate in that bigger predator. So the smaller the fish, the better. Yeah. And maybe cold waters, right, would be a better thing. Ideally, if you have access to it, cold, clean waters is what we're looking for.
Cleaner water.
And here's one of the big things that's a downside, right, is this idea that mercury is out there. There's a great website. It somehow, I think, got taken down a couple years ago, which is interesting. So in this, you can type in how much you weigh, how much fish you ate, and what type of fish you ate, and it will kick you back on average the mercury toxicity level of that. So an 8-ounce grouper serving, and I think I did this for like an average weight American, I think was like no, I didn't do it for an average weight person. I think I did this for myself. And so an 8-ounce serving of grouper would be a 220% daily overload of
mercury
based off of the EPA.
Dang.
Yeah, wild.
This is why Dr. Cade isn't the biggest fan of fish. I will say this, plug for blood work. That's why it's important to make sure your liver's functioning properly so that you can help to detoxify this stuff.
Because like, even though there's no safe exposure to mercury, like it's never good, we're constantly being exposed to toxins. Think about all the microplastics and all the other junk that's in the sea. So like that, what Coach just said is awesome. Make sure that you're sweating, make sure that you're active. But again, on here, look at the difference between 221% of grouper versus 21% of herring, because herring is so small on that food chain, or so low on that food chain. Okay, good. How about other things? Filters of the sea.
Yeah. So what do they call them? Bottom feeders?
I think the comedian Jim Gaffigan calls them sea bugs, which I'm starting to prefer more and more.
Yeah. But man, I love some good scallops and shrimp.
Yeah, it's hard. So many of our homeschooling families like just went up and did scalloping.
Yeah.
And, towards the middle of the state on the coastline there of the Gulf. It's interesting, right? So like, I don't think this needs to be completely off the menu, but we just need to be aware, right? Yeah. There is stuff in them, right? And there is benefits to it too, as much as, right? Absolutely. So oysters are having a bit of a moment over the past couple of years, right? The mineral content.
Yep. Yeah. They call them like a multivitamin because they're just loaded with vitamins and minerals. But it's kind of like peanuts, like peanuts have copper in them. So you need copper, and maybe that's a place where you can get copper.
Ooh. All right.
This is nice.
New slide here for Coach.
Let's go.
As a baseline recommendation, how much protein should people be eating? Oh my
gosh, that's the question. Everybody now on the Instagrams and in the media is talking about, in the health space, is talking about 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So I weigh about 210, maybe 15 pounds right now. And so that means I should have 215 grams of protein a day. That's a lot of protein. That's really hard to do.
It's a lot of protein.
But we do need protein. Protein is primary. It means in Greek it's proteos, which stands for primary. So it's numero uno, structure and function of our body. So we want to be eating more protein. I think, and I'm telling all my patients that your meals should be based around protein. Protein really helps with high blood glucose, which we're going to talk about sugar. So like eating protein with fat and carbs can help your metabolism. I kind of went off on a tangent there, but
no, I think that's good. And Coach is bigger than me. He's more active than me, right? So he might even, if he's trying to put on more weight or more muscle, he might even at times go higher protein numbers than that, right? But just because that's being recommended right now as kind of a baseline, that's not always the best thing to do. So again, if you're trying to lose weight, there's a different number there. If you're pregnant, there's a different number there. If you're trying to put on muscle, there's a different number there. If you're trying to cut, there's a different number there,
if
right?
you're older,
Yeah.
your age matters.
It does. There's so many different things to it, right?
Yeah.
So it's a good baseline, but to, I think, dial it in for you, for your goals, then blood work is a big, big thing, and sitting down with somebody to dial it in, right?
Yep.
And if it's hard to get it in via food, here's some of our favorites. That's still food, but maybe snacks on the go. Love this protein powder from SFH. It's some of the cleanest that we've been able to find out there. It tastes awesome. Our kids think it's literally candy. Like literally they think it's candy. It's awesome.
Yeah, that strawberry one is fire.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it just punches that smoothie flavor so much.
Yep.
And if you just mix it into milk, it reminds me of, remember the Nesquik
Yes.
growing up?
Yes, it does.
Oh,
it's a milkshake.
shout out to my buddy Ben Johnson. He always did that with bubble gum on our football trips. And my wife loves Nesquik too.
Wow.
Best beef
Throwback.
jerky ever is that Lineage brand. And
Oh my gosh.
those beef sticks are, I'm getting hungry right now.
Yeah. Can we go off on hemp again?
Yeah, well, you kind of did. Do it again.
Do we have an amino acid slide?
No.
Okay. So there's 21 amino acids in that make up proteins. And then, the body and animals, like we rearrange amino acids to make a specific protein. And hemp is a plant protein, but it has the 21 amino acid profile in it. So you can eat a plant protein and get what you would get from an animal protein, right? So the big thing about animal protein is there's guaranteed to have 21 amino acids, whereas like pea protein doesn't have all 21 amino acids, but hemp does. So I think that's pretty cool. That's something we just kind of researched and learned today.
Hemp is awesome. Been a long time fan of it. I absolutely adore it. Used to go crazy with it on salads and in smoothies. Used to put it in little cups and just kind of throw it back. Just make sure it's organic as well. Cool?
Yeah.
All right. Now we get to play the game. Name that food. This is how important reading ingredients are. So we're
Limes.
going to... Oh, crap. Dude, stop reading my emails here.
Sorry.
Okay,
Sorry.
we're going to give you a list like this, and then you are going to try to guess what it is before we move on. So whole grain wheat flour, soy fiber, sugar cane, wheat gluten, yeast, brown sugar. We get down a little bit further, and we got a big one right in the middle there. Azodicarbonamide. That one made headlines years ago because that is also used in... drumroll, yoga mats. Remember that one? So, any guess on what this is?
Hey, there is molasses in that. That's got what's that have? Like molybdenum in it or something like that?
There is a mineral
Manganese.
content.
Manganese,
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think so. I don't
Okay.
know. Can I guess?
Yeah, go for it.
Bread.
Oh, you jerk. Man, you stopped reading my emails. Okay. Your food really doesn't need to have that big long list, right? Okay.
Wait,
On to the
isn't
next.
it just wheat, water, and like flour, water, yeast, and salt?
Love it.
That's bread.
Homemade sourdough.
That was
Okay.
a long list.
How about this one? Corn syrup solids, soy protein isolate, safflower, one of the ones on our list, sugar, some more soy oil. Finally, we get to coconut oil, and we get a ton of other stuff. Any guess here?
I don't know this one.
Well, if anybody sees that name down below, Abbott, there was a shortage of this last couple of years. That's baby food. That's baby formula. That's how we get big, chubby, chunky cheeks right there, right?
I mean, he's cute, but that can't be right.
Isn't that wild? So the point of this corn syrup solids, right? Like 42% of this is just sugar, right? And then we're following it up with some pretty bad fats.
Yeah.
Maybe my math should be better. 42% plus 10% sugar.
Oh, stop.
I mean, the point of this stuff is to get big, fat babies. The point of this is not healthy babies.
No.
But
the point is the ag industry because it's corn, right? So you could put that in our food and then the ag industry, never mind. You get the point.
we're creating some sick kids from the start. Okay, how about this one? Mechanically separated, I don't know how good you can read it on here, but mechanically separated turkey water, sugar,
Oh my God.
potassium lactate, smoke flavor, canola oil,
Smoke.
sodium nitrate down at the bottom. Any guess?
Turkey.
Bacon, turkey, bacon, turkey. All right, that's what it is. So just because we've been told that turkey bacon is healthier than bacon,
Yeah.
got to read those ingredients.
Yeah, I'd go with a clean pig bacon.
All right.
personally.
How about this one? See if you can get this, Coach. I believe in you. Freshly roasted peanuts, soybean oil, maltodextrin, icing sugar.
I got this.
Bad fat, vegetable oil.
Jif peanut butter. Oh, Skippy!
Yes, I swapped that out at the last
Dang
second.
it.
Yeah, so
Dang
you ever notice how like the things that are most attractive to kids marketing-wise are always like at their height, right?
Yeah.
Then so they can grab it. But again, we talked about peanut butter and nuts and how roasting them is bad, right? And denatures it. We talked about the bad oils. We talked about sugar. This is everything bad.
Icing sugar. What's that?
For maybe we should ask Miss Diane. Diane, if you're watching this, you can tell us next time what the difference between sugar and icing sugar is.
Oh, dang.
Here's
this
a big
is a
one.
long one.
Here's a big one.
You're not going to read all that, are you?
I'm going to save you from that, but I am going to pick out one of these. Isobutylbutyrate. David, if you're listening to this, David, I was sitting doing this nutrition talk, I don't even know how many years ago, 10 years ago, maybe more, and he was a mechanic at the Naples airport, and he goes, I didn't have it bolded at the time. And he goes, no lie, isobutylbutyrate. We use that on the planes to clean the jet fuel off the planes. I couldn't believe it. So I've had it bold since then. Shout out to you, David.
Wait. Can I try saying that?
Yeah.
Isobutylbutyrate.
That's it.
Whoa.
Yep.
Mind blowing.
Any guess?
No. Jet fuel.
59 ingredients, and not one of them is strawberries or milk in a strawberry milkshake from McDonald's. This is food manufacturing, right? This is tricking our receptors in our brain to think we're experiencing something that we're not.
Yeah.
And wildly, that's all cheaper to do that than make an actual freaking strawberry milkshake.
There's essential oil in it. It's healthy. Unbelievable. Oh my gosh. No way.
Guess?
No.
I was a little late.
Chicken nugget.
I was a little late making lunch for my kids before I sent them to school today, so I'm just going to pop them in here.
Lunchables.
Man, you were the cool kid, though, if you had these back in the day.
Yeah. But who wants the pizza? Give me the crackers, the cheese, and the meat. Not the pizza.
I love it.
Oh, Chick-fil-A. Come on, guys. Come on. Do better.
I kind of want to keep my mouth shut because I don't want to be judged on this one. Like,
why?
Well, from God, this is holy food.
No.
Okay, I'm just teasing.
No.
Okay.
No, you're not telling me that. What are you trying to do? You trying to like make money or are you trying to help people? Come on.
All right.
Come on.
This is an ingredient list here.
Organic whole grain beans. Let's go. Why do we need that? Just eat the bean.
That's what it should say right there.
Boom.
Real food.
Boom.
Cool. All right. Yeah. So again, that was all a good example of food marketing, right? And a way to trick us into thinking things are healthier than they should. And maybe this is the biggest failure right here was all natural Cheetos plucked fresh from the tree. Wait, do Cheetos grow on the tree or are they more tubers and we got to dig them up?
Tubers, starchy tubers. Hey, we got to get this LIFEstrength logo off of this like slide because it looks like LIFEstrength's a part of bad food marketing.
Oh man. All right, on to the next. Cool. All right, we already talked about that slide. Keep going. We're done with the game. We're done with fats and proteins.
Oh, good.
On to the next. So timestamp, kapow, there it is, on to carbs and sugar. So sugar. I'm gonna take this one and then kind of rant a little bit. So sugar is something that completely changes our pH. If you've ever had a fish tank or a pool, you know that balancing that pH is so important. And our ecosystem is the same thing. We need to have a balanced pH. And if we don't have that, disease and inflammation and other things can exist, right? Sugar creates inflammation. Sugar impedes the immune function. I believe 1 gram of sugar impedes the immune system for 3 hours. I'm not going to back you up with sources on that, but I believe that's true. And the worst part of all about sugar, how it's crept into our daily life, is that it feeds cancer. That's one of the pathways that sugar loves, or I'm sorry, one of the pathways that cancer loves is sugar. It's not the only pathway, but it's a big, big pathway, right? Okay, so glycemic index. Do you want to take this one and talk about it?
No, keep going, because I think I'm going to play like the other side of the coin with sugar.
Okay, I like that.
Yep.
Okay, so one of the big things when we're looking at food is how high and how fast sugar raises our glycemic index. That's our level of blood sugar, right? And typically a food is worse for you when it raises it really high and really fast. There's a big response. That's more of a dangerous thing, right? And so for lack of a better way to explain it, again, I'm going to dumb it down because my simple brain likes it that way. If we ate, you guys are watching me here. I'm going to have my hand up to my eyeballs, okay? I'm going to say if I ate this much sugar today and I was really active and I burned that much of that sugar for energy, we're going to call that, for this conversation, this simple conversation, a wash, right? But tomorrow, I'm not going to use as much energy. I'm not going to be as active, but I ate the same amount of sugar. My body is going to take the difference of that sugar that I consumed. Because I didn't burn it, I'm going to store it as fat, right? And the hard part about this cycle, because so many of us love and prefer sugar, we actually never go back and burn that storage of fat, right?
Yeah.
Our body's hardwired to do that for survival instincts. We never go back and burn that storage of fat. We just stay burning sugar as fuel, and we get hungrier, and we keep feeding it. And a lot of times, bigger and fatter, right? And we get weight loss resistance. We get all these issues. And a lot of people out there, talk about eating meals frequently, and it kind of feeds into this. Like, we never go back and burn that storage of fat. And that's why fasting is such a wonderful, wonderful thing. Holy moly, I did just rant there.
Well, that was good, man. That was really good because that matters. Oh, wow. Sugar versus fat burning. Oh, nice. Hypoglycemia.
Do you want? Yeah. Well, we teed this one up for you, bud.
Okay, good. So, it's crazy. It is crazy as I'm getting more and more experience with looking at blood and blood chemistry, how many people are hypoglycemic, which means they have an insulin, which insulin's a hormone that tells sugar to go, or glucose to go into the cell. They have a low insulin level fasting, right? So that means that their sugar is going too quickly, burning too quickly. So they're running out of fuel. And like that indicates, and that causes just as much dysfunction as hyperglycemia or diabetes or insulin resistance. So glucose is the preferred fuel source for our body. Like, we need sugar. The body uses sugar. There's 4 hormones that raise glucose, and there's one that lowers it. Insulin's the one that lowers it. Cortisol, adrenaline, those raise sugar. So the body clearly wants our sugar levels to be at a certain height, right? The problem is our food is hijacked, and it's loaded with actually fake sugar, high fructose corn syrup, and then processed sugar that's cheap, and it makes the food taste great. So, solution. I don't remember what the solution is.
Oh man, they better go somewhere else for answers. Let's keep hitting on sugar just a touch more. And I agree with Coach 100% on this, that, sugar is so important. It's very, very tightly regulated in the body. And again, it's not necessarily the problem. The problem is how we're just getting bombarded with it, right? Yeah. And so the average American, I collected this statistic back, I believe, in 2015, I'm going to say. I think it was even earlier, 2014. But back then, the average American consumed the equivalent of 53 teaspoons a day. And you can see the rest of the statistics, right? And I think when most of us think of sugar, we think of, well, what's the things? I mean, when I think of sugar, I think of like Tootsie Rolls, lollipops,
Laffy Taffy,
ice cream, Laffy Taffy, all of my wife's favorite things, right? But, I don't think too many people think of it a different way, right? Yeah, which I'm gonna skip that slide. There's another thing that I'm leading here to. These are some of the names that are out there for sugar. All of these things are the same. Triacyl, diastatic malt, right? Those are just all sugar. Anything that ends in OSE, fructose, glucose. Anything else?
Sucrose.
Okay.
OS.
Anything else in here though?
No, well, just that this is like, so corn. I see corn a lot on here, right? And corn is very, very cheaply produced. And so, like, you go through the Midwest and it's all corn. Well, there's a reason for that, because they can turn that corn into sugar, and that makes the Cheetos cheaper because they can be sweetened with that, or the Snickers bar, or the Coca-Cola, or whatever it is. And that has a problem. That is a problem because it's a different breakdown in our it's broken down in our liver. So there's a lot to that, but it's processed. It's fake. It's not real raw cane sugar or honey.
I wish that I had the slide on here. There was a guy that was on 60 Minutes, and his name, Robert Lustig, that's the name. And he was a big proponent, right, of getting, of bringing out about how damaging sugar was. And I believe Dr. Robert so much in what you have to say. I'm talking to him like he's listening to this.
What's up, Rob?
Man, We're not on a single name basis yet. I prefer Dr. Robert for him.
Doc.
But one of the things in that interview that I didn't like is he said that corn syrup and like honey are processed the same, right? Or, fruit sugar from an apple versus, high fructose corn syrup. And I disagree with that, right? Completely disagree with that.
It can't be.
Yeah, 100%.
No way.
So again, we just talked about candies and sweets and stuff like that. And, all of these things on the label, but a lot of times sugar just really isn't on the label.
Yeah.
Bread, pasta, rice, grains in their simplest form are just sugar. And for most people, this is like the biggest part of their diet. Correct?
100%. Yeah. It's where we need to change that to protein. And there's also a problem with just eating a piece of bread and butter and not having eggs and bacon or eggs and some clean protein with it. Because the body metabolizes it differently.
Okay, so we talked about Lunchables, sending kids off, to that for lunch, and here's something that a lot of kids are sent off with for breakfast, right? And we look at this; it's beautiful. It's got a couple gold seals. Those raspberries are like the best glamour shot of those raspberries ever. Down in that bottom corner, we talk about low fat, excellent source of calcium. There's some natural flavors, artificials there too, but like awarded by professional chefs of the American Culinary Institute.
Come on, with an ingredients list like that.
Hey, don't undermine them. That's an important, prestigious seal.
Cade, you're getting hoodwinked. This is marketing, and it's getting you to buy this.
I'm offended. All right, so let's go through the ingredient list. We zoomed in on it a little bit. I'm going to read off the number of toxins / sugars, especially sugars, right in here. So high fructose corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, glycerin, fructose, sugar, maltodextrin, cornstarch, citric acid, soy lecithin. We've got xanthan gum, modified cellulose, caramel color, malic acid, red 40, blue number 1. And I think that's just the filling. Then we get enriched flour and whole oats, which is just sugar, and then partially hydrogenated soybean and or cottonseed oil, high fructose corn syrup, honey, oh baby, there it is, finally, dextrose, non-fat dry milk, wheat bran, which isn't sugar because the bran is better, right? Then we get down a little further, soy lecithin, wheat gluten, cornstarch, carrageenan, guar gum, and then we subsidize it with a bunch of fake vitamins.
Dang.
Is that wild? That's
close
wild.
to 30.
But if your kid is jumping off the wall at school and can't focus and can't do their homework, can't wait their turn in line, it's not because...
Get them some more healthy Nutri-Grain bars.
It's definitely not because of that. It's because they have a deficiency of Ritalin and they need ADD medication.
No, they're probably hungry.
All right. So if you're going to do a sandwich, as we just kind of are going through this, white bread is definitely going to be the worst choice of bread. It's the most processed. They've stripped it out of any nutrition possible, right? A better choice would be multigrain. Better choice would be whole wheat. But Coach, what are your favorites for bread?
Sourdough. Sourdough. I like sourdough because it's fermented and you're getting a little bit of probiotic in it. The fermentation process, the proteins, the gluten content is lower, so you actually don't spike your blood sugar as high with sourdough. That's my favorite. But you know what? Shout out to Food and Thought here in Naples, Florida, because they do their bread right. They get their wheat from Europe. It's got no Roundup in it. And it's got 3 or 4 ingredients in each of their different loaves.
Pretty dang cool. So if you live down here in Southwest Florida, you don't have time to make your own, go there. If you don't have time to make your own, maybe a next best would be a sprouted bread. That's when the grain is sprouting more into a plant. So ideally, if it's done the right way, you get more of the nutrition of a plant, less the nutrition aspect of a grain. Or you can do a lettuce wrap.
Yeah.
Or go naked. No bun. No bun?
Why
are you laughing at my lettuce wrap? Is that something? I've been out to lunch with you.
Do you like the crunch?
Okay, on to the next. I did leave the office this week with literally a handful of what was it? Romaine?
Lettuce. Lettuce. Like, he's literally, I'm going to snack on lettuce.
I got problems. Okay, so rice. Worst rice would be white rice. Next, better. Well, there is some debate on that.
Yeah,
right?
there is. Big time.
Okay, well, you tell me the debate on white rice.
Well, the old Bulletproof Diet guy, Dave Asprey, he says brown rice is a super high content of arsenic. So, and his thing, and Gundry, Dr. Stephen Gundry says this as well, that billions of people in the Eastern Hemisphere eat white rice instead of brown rice, meaning they take the husk off of brown rice and eat the white rice, and they've done that for thousands of years. Why? Well, maybe they know something. But
easier on the digestive system for sure, white rice. When my wife is dealing with her digestive issues, white rice was one of the things that we used to bring her back to life, right? And obviously there's different, varieties, and there's things that are healthier. Obviously we want to go for organic, but, I mean, we go further down the line here. Wild rice and black rice, can easily go into the same thing as brown rice. Harder on that digestive system. For some people, it's can be inflammatory, right? But there's also more nutritional components in those, especially when they're grown right. Let's go back to the glycemic index. Quinoa is way lower, spikes your sugar way lower. So a healthier version. Plus, there's more nutrition in quinoa than there is typically in rice. And if you're up for it, I sometimes love it, and sometimes I can't even look at it. Sometimes I can't even smell it. Yeah, sometimes it just gets me. And other times it's like the best thing ever. But what are your thoughts on cauliflower rice?
Awesome. I mean, you're going to get some fiber in there, and cauliflower is a cruciferous vegetable, so lots of nutrients.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. How about noodles?
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Go ahead. I'll let you take it.
Well, I'm not even going to go off of this list. I have been personally getting pasta from Italy, and that's wheat, right? So, but again, it's 3 ingredients. It's wheat, flour, and salt.
Yeah.
So, and I know that that's healthy and good because it's organic and it doesn't have Roundup in it. But yeah, brown rice noodles are awesome. You got to just watch boxed pasta because it's garbage and they put a whole bunch of junk in it. But there's some amazing brown rice noodles these days. There's this amazing bean noodles, quinoa noodles, zoodles. I think zoodles, is that the one that's got the prebiotic fiber in it?
Zoodles we always call zoodles doing it from zucchini noodles, or turning a zucchini into noodles, or spaghetti squash. We'd always call them zoodles.
That I will say is delicious, like with some spaghetti.
It's different though if you've never had it, you know. And again, if you crave, like if you're a pasta connoisseur, like we've got a lot of patients in our office that like they put a line in the sand that's not one they're willing to bend on, and I get that. Like we all have our thing. Then make sure you're getting it from a good source, like what Coach was talking about, where like you're also avoiding the things that they're spraying on it when it's imported from. Where do you get yours from?
Italy.
You need to stick your nose up a little bit when you say it like
that. I have a patient that makes his own noodles.
Amazing.
Like unreal. Go for it.
What was it Bonanza that recently came out? That was chickpea noodle, so it was a bean noodle. Bonza, that's what it was. What did I say? Bonanza? Bonza, yeah. So it was flagged with huge, what was it? Was it Roundup?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Or was it metal?
I don't know.
Okay. Man, I'm so glad we're prepared for this talk.
Yeah.
Especially prepared for you, our dear listener. Okay, on to the next. Let's keep going. We're on sugar. We're going to talk about fruit, right?
Yeah.
So put dried fruit here at the bottom of the list with an asterisk. Dried fruit it's usually loaded with bad oil and sugar, right?
Yep.
But the one around it is freeze-dried fruit. Freeze-dried fruit is amazing. There's typically none of the bad stuff. For me personally, I think all the fruit on this list is awesome, right?
Yep.
But again, depending if you're trying to cut weight, if you have an autoimmune disease, if you're struggling with pain, brain fog, if you're autoimmune, I think I already said that one, or insulin resistant, right? Melons, bananas, citrus fruit, they have higher sugar levels. If you're going to eat those things, I think they're great. Eat it earlier in the day so that you can burn through some of that sugar that you're bringing in, right? But the ones that are lowest on the glycemic index, Granny Smith apples and organic berries.
Can I say something here?
I'm going to go on to the next before you. No, yes, of course you can.
So high fructose. Fruit has fructose as its sugar. So if there's liver issues, if there's non-alcoholic fatty liver, that fructose is broken down in the liver. So sometimes eating a lot of fruit can cause fatty liver or make it worse. So that's something to take into consideration. You also need to make sure that your fruit is in season when you eat it. So seasonal fruit. And that has a much different breakdown in your body than if the bananas were 747 jetted in from Hawaii or wherever they get them, right? So know what fruits come to season and what season, and eat them.
Love that. Diversity is king. Okay. How about these things?
Like starchy tubers.
So at one point, really kind of tried to steer people away from these, but there's a ton of benefits to this stuff. These are considered, in many cases, a prebiotic, which feeds the good bacteria in your gut, right?
Yep.
And there's a ton, like one of our favorite chips is Siete chips. And they are, instead of flour being in there, that's sourced from, or wheat flour, I should say, cassava flour.
Yep.
Anything else you want to add on here? Are you a fan of this stuff as well?
Yeah, very, very nutrient dense. There's not only prebiotic fiber in a lot of these, there's more nutrients. So, yeah, awesome.
All right.
Oh,
Veggies.
let's go.
I love asparagus. Asparagus, olives, tomatoes, those are always my favorite vegetables. Some of the worst ones that you can do are canned veggies because usually because of the toxicity of the liner in the can, right? Some, according to Gundry, right? Some of the, is it nightshades, right?
Yeah.
Eggplant, tomato, onion, mushroom. Again, depending on where you're at with your health, I don't think we need to go down it too much. We're not trying to have this be an autoimmune like protocol talk today, but those can be inflammatory for some people, right? Some of the best ones, broccoli sprouts, super nutrient dense.
Sulforaphane.
Anti-cancerous, amazing. Olives, asparagus, wonderful stuff. Is that how you pronounce it now?
Fiber. Get your fiber in.
What are your favorite veggies?
I love cruciferous veggies. Those are veggies that when the seedling comes up, it's a cross, like Jesus. And they're higher in nutrient profile. So cabbage is a cruciferous, Brussels sprouts, asparagus, I think is, broccoli is, cauliflower. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. As long as we're in this category, I guess we might as well talk about fermented foods.
Yeah,
I don't know why I have it here for now, but we're going to pretend like I knew exactly what I was doing. What are your thoughts on fermented foods?
I think that's a great way to feed the microbiome in your gut. I think I'd almost prefer eating sauerkraut or like kimchi. I don't know so much about kombucha because, well, Cade's going to talk to you about the sugar content, but I see 26 grams of sugar on the back of some of those and it scares me. But yeah, I think the benefit of the microbiome, like feeding the gut bacteria from the fermentation in these things, are very beneficial.
So again, I think we had one of our patients talk with us about this. I believe the sugar that they put in is food for the good bacteria in there. And as that ferments, it's literally eating, right? The sugar. So how much of it's left over at the end, I don't know. But I think the majority of it is eaten by that bacteria to grow the culture.
That's awesome.
Okay, we're done with sugars.
Woo!
We good?
Toxins, yeah.
Okay, on to toxins.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right, artificial sweeteners. Their big claim to fame was we're getting away from sugar, right? Because sugar's bad. So we made this artificial synthetic derivative, right? That is going to be a healthier version for you, right? Well, Splenda came from this. Should I try to say this today?
Sure.
1,6-dichloro, 1,6-dideoxy, beta-D, fructofuranosyl, 4-chloro-4-deoxy, alpha-D-galactoperonoside. That is Splenda. Splenda,
He's done this before.
I have a couple times, right? I used to practice that in front of my mirror and tell me, gosh darn it, I am good. Was this Saturday Night Live character? What was his name? Gosh darn it.
I don't know.
People trust me or something like that. I love it.
About this.
Molly Shannon. So Splenda, the generic name of Splenda is sucralose. This stuff is everywhere and in so many health food stuff out there too, right? Like a lot of, what were we looking at? Protein powder a while back that like so many people are on.
Everybody.
I can't remember the brand, but like.
Well, every protein.
It's crazy. So many of the sports drinks and electrolyte drinks that are out there. Sucralose. It's crazy, isn't it?
Celsius.
Yeah. Like
Stop drinking it.
Like crazy. And so, go ahead.
It destroys your gut. It destroys the microbiome, which we're trying to build up. And then you go drink your Celsius every day and boom.
Yeah.
Dunsky.
I mean, if you're spending any money on probiotics or kombucha and fermented foods, and then sucralose is there, you're not getting anywhere.
Yeah.
So here is an example of another thing that most of us wouldn't think it is in Pedialyte, right? And whether people are using that post hangover or you're giving that to your kids, if you look down there at the ingredients, we've got sucralose and then another artificial sweetener, acesulfame potassium, right?
What's that?
Along with a couple colorings underneath it. I believe that's the pink one. I can never remember if it's Sweet and Low or if it's equal, but it's the pink one. So we put a couple healthier alternatives out there, Berry Light and Kinder Light, better options, right? None of the junk that's in there, which is cool because like I think our dollars are the biggest thing that dictates the market.
Yep.
And when we buy this stuff, it's going to meet the demand, right? So go ahead, Coach. Let you take this. Worst ones.
Well, look, artificial, white, agave. Agave is another one that has fructose in it. So that is being broken down in your liver. Molasses has some nutrient profile to it. Brown sugar, monk fruit, yacon, stevia, xylitol. I am getting more towards the school of getting your body into a state to be able to handle real sugar, like molasses and brown sugar. Whereas monk fruit is, a doesn't have a glycemic index, so it doesn't spike your supposed insulin. But like my thoughts are, okay, monk fruit doesn't spike your glucose, right? But it's sweet to the taste. So your brain has to think that something sweet is coming in. Is that like throwing your body off? Whereas God made honey, sugar, to be sweet, and that's going to bring sugar in. But
Super
glucose.
good point. And I think we are measuring and putting so much weight into that glycemic index, right? Or that glycemic number that's jumping up, right? And what are the other things that monk fruit and stevia and xylitol are stimulating, right?
Exactly.
And so, if someone is dealing with cancer, in my opinion, I wouldn't put them on brown sugar or molasses, even though, again, there is some benefit there, or raw local honey. I would be jumping towards more of the stevia and the xylitol because, again, it doesn't jump blood sugar at all. But is it absolutely perfect? Absolutely not, right? So there's got to be some balance and some talk here.
Yes, for sure.
Shout out to Ruby's, raw local honey down here in Southwest Florida. You guys are killing it. Awesome stuff, full of nutrition. All sorts of other benefits. I put agave down at the bottom, and I think potentially we could put honey down there too, not raw local honey, right? But honey down there because it's such a corrupt industry, if you will. I think independent studies show that the majority of agave and honey out in the market is actually loaded and cut with high fructose corn syrup.
Really?
Yeah, it's wild. Mercola put a study out there. Yep, absolutely. So always trust your local sources.
I will say this, when somebody does need to do an elimination diet, when they're struggling with major inflammation and an autoimmune, the one thing that is allowed on this one that I use that's a sweetener is stevia. All others are taken off. So there's something to say about that not being so toxic to your body.
Awesome. Now, there's lots of brands of stevia and xylitol and monk fruit out there that if you're buying that, like if you're making some of your own recipes, that they'll also put some other junk in the ingredients. So read those. Yep. All right. This is a big one. So average person consumes 150 pounds of additives a year. And some of these are on the label and most of them are not. FDA has put it, approved right now over 3,000. A lot of those are tested in isolation if they're safe, not necessarily, additive A with additive X and then preservative C and coloring F. I'm just throwing numbers. I'm just throwing letters out there. So super interesting. And of course, this stuff creates a lot of toxicity and extra load for the liver and a lot of issues that the body has to deal with where it's using energy to deal with this versus energy to heal and repair and restore in other areas. We talked a little bit about that Clean 15 Dirty Dozen way back when we were in protein and fats, and we were talking about chemically sprayed fruits and vegetables versus animal products. EWG puts this out every year. You can see we're super updated with this one in 2016. That's almost 10 years old, man. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. So again, pesticides are not on the label. So we had one there that was in our game, organic, non-GMO, right? Green beans. That's what the label should look like. But again, how many pesticides, if it's not organic, how many pesticides are out there? Organic isn't perfect either. We'll save that for another day.
This, I want to say something here because this is like this toxin stuff is really, I think, what is one huge part of us being so fat and sick and unhealthy. I mean, I can't tell you how many people I see that have non-alcoholic fatty liver, because the liver's so bombarded with these toxins. So yeah, these lists are awesome because
are those people drinking?
Well, some of them.
Yeah, but many of them aren't, and there's not an explanation if all you think about is booze, right? So this is
exactly. So our body has to deal with this massive toxic load that is in our food and in all this stuff. So yeah, these lists are gold.
Cool.
That's all.
GMOs. I think most people know about this now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy what we're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, GMOs are linked to all of this stuff. Yeah. If you can, don't touch it.
Well, why would you, let me just say this, why would you put a different gene in a seed like to make it resistant to a chemical that you can spray on it so that it doesn't have weeds and you can have a better yield and grow more. Like, come on. Like we're messing with God's creation here. Yeah. And it's jacking us up. We're paying for it.
Soybeans. This is food. We're in the toxic category. All right.
There's some nutrient profile and benefit to soybeans, but where do you get an organic soybean?
Super hard to find. I think it is the most genetically modified crop on the planet, next to the next slide that we're going to get to. Soy, if you can get an organic fermented version of soy, what is it called? Natto. Yeah. If you can do that, then yeah. But I don't really at this point think there's any reason, any excuse to really touch soy. It's a phytoestrogen, meaning it's a plant-based version of estrogen, which spikes estrogen levels and can have all sorts of hormonal side effects.
Jacks you up.
Yeah, I just wouldn't touch soy. How about corn? Do we hit on corn enough yet?
Poor corn. Well, I mean, you can, again, God made this, right? But it's just been so modified and so crossbred and so like you drive through Indiana or Wisconsin or Minnesota and you go through these cornfields and you see that the corn is labeled with like a
different
N35, 68, 70. Like it's a robot, like because it's modified. It's disgusting. But
and they're constantly tracking, right? Like which one produces the most yield, which one's most resistant to this temp or that bug, right?
Yep, exactly.
But I think the other part is there's this economical, almost like a satanic kind of hold on these farmers because nobody owns these seeds other than the companies who own the seeds, right? Mm-hmm. And so the farmers are having to pay to get those seeds every year. It's wild. There's a wonderful documentary, I believe it's called King Corn, that jumps into a lot of this stuff. A lot of countries outside the U.S. are actually banning the use of genetically modified seeds because of how it harms the soil, how it harms not just the population's health who consume this, but the farmers. And there's an economic aspect to it too. Very, very interesting.
Hands are
big
tied.
topic. Yeah, big topic. Ooh, nitrates. Okay, it gives meat this rich red color that so many of us look for. World Health Organization, because they are so trusted, we're going to use them as a source here. 67% increase in pancreatic cancer for nitrates. Pretty wild. Pretty prominent figures in our world and our culture, pop culture, right? Died from pancreatic cancer. Patrick Swayze and Steve Jobs, even though they had the most money, the best doctors, the best insurance, I assume, access to all sorts of stuff. Nitrates are going to lead to cancer. And yeah, it's pretty wild.
Processing. Oh, MSG.
This is all yours, Coach.
Nice.
All yours.
Well, we did a little digging before this talk because I've seen some Instagram reels out there on how MSG can actually be a benefit to your brain and health. It can go on to create something called GABA, a neurotransmitter, which is actually done in our gut. But here's the thing. This is what I got out of it. MSG is in meat. It's in a steak, right? But they have figured out how to take MSG out of things and make it a supplement or a seasoning to put
flavor enhancer.
There you go. To put it back because it has such a brain influence, right? It put it back into Chinese food is very popular so that it tastes a certain way so that you love it. So yeah, it's naturally occurring in protein, but
what do we find? Meat, seafood, cheese.
Yeah.
What was the other one? Something else. I can't remember what was the other one that we found. Those are the big ones. So meat, seafood, cheese.
Yeah.
Keep going.
That's all. I was just going to say they've figured out how to take it out and put it into something else, and that's just too high of a content, and that can jack you up.
It's so cool how there's a tolerance, right? So when it's naturally occurring in those food sources we just talked about, naturally it works with this GABA neurotransmitter to promote feelings of calm and relaxation, feelings of contentment, right? That GABA. So many people are turning to GABA to get, right? Yeah. Depression and anxiety and all these wild things, right? But again, when we isolate it and we pump up the levels to make it beyond what's available in nature, it overexcites, especially our neurologic tissues. to the point that it actually kills the cells. And that's why, again, it can cross the blood-brain barrier. It can do some of these neurologic things that we're talking about here. It can actually, overuse of it can mimic MS. It's wild. It's wild,
That's
right?
multiple sclerosis,
Yeah.
in case you didn't know.
Again, it's in a lot of different things out there, especially our processed treats and snacks and stuff. Okay, next.
Sum it up.
Oh, man, are we almost done? We are right now at an hour and 14 minutes. I think we kicked butt compared to our last one, time-wise.
Yep.
So let's wrap it up. If you're going to take a couple things away, don't be that person. Jesus is trying to feed the masses, and people are like, I can't eat that fish. I'm a vegan. Has it been tested for mercury? Is that bread gluten-free? I feel like this is our comic. This is, right? All the stuff that we talked about in this stuff.
Yep.
Don't be that person. Don't do it. We've all been out to eat with that person who's too much, right?
Yep.
If you bless your food, if you pray over your food, if you eat some bad stuff and you don't think about it too much, I don't think it's the end of the world.
Amen.
I don't know what you'll say, right? But if you are stressing about it, if you are hypersensitive, I think that creates more damage than just eating some bad stuff every now and then. It's not about being perfect. Do you agree?
100%. And I used to be this guy in the crowd, like, hey, does that have gluten in it, or is that organic, right? But I've learned that stress causes just as much or more harm because our body goes into the sympathetic nervous system and we don't have the components in our gut to take care of that stuff in the first place than just enjoying it and eating it.
I like those sandals you got on in that picture, though. Those are good.
Thanks,
Those are
dude.
good.
Right.
Okay, so here's one that we always talk about with our kiddos is jerf, right? Just eat real food. Shout out to Sean Croxon for coming up with this one. Love it. I'm going to try to carry the torch here on this. Jerf, just eat real food. Amazing, right?
That was my torch.
Okay, so here's the summary, right? Replace bad fats with good fats. We've talked about that. Remove sources of especially bad sugar, right? But limit sugar as much as what you can do. It is essential, like what Coach said, but...
Watch it.
Okay, good. And count chemicals instead of counting your calories, right? Read those labels. That's going to tell you if that food is worthy of your money and you eating it.
Yes. Oh, nice.
Prioritize your clean sources of animal products, especially, right? Proteins and fats, they're better together. That's why they exist in nature like that, right?
And carbs. So protein, fat, and carb. Like if you're going to eat a sourdough sandwich, it needs to have a good amount of protein on it and some good fat with it, and you're going to metabolize that a lot better.
So I just want to say something because you brought up sourdough and on this topic. I am not a bread person. I've really never been a bread person. But remember how you said sourdough?
Mm-hmm.
Like sourdough and butter, why is that so special? That is so good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sourdough and butter?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Amazing.
Maybe I'm just hungry.
You better have some protein with it, though.
I love this slide as we're kind of tailing off here. Supplements should follow all the same rules, right? Food should be first. There's a reason why it's called a supplement. It should supplement where we're missing in our diet, right?
Yeah.
Everything should be food-based. And don't just take a bunch of supplements just to see how it works. Figure out what your body needs. Don't waste money or even potentially don't cause more harm by just taking stuff because Instagram tells you to.
Yeah. It does stink that we do need supplements because our food has been so hijacked with the nutrient profile that it should have. Like we should be getting all of our supplements from our food.
Yeah.
But yeah, quality matters here too.
That's the world we live in right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we just went through so much of this stuff on what do we eat? What do I eat? Everything there, which hopefully we helped you guys and cleared up a lot of confusion. Mm-hmm. It's a lot though, but I do think that these are things that we shared with you today that are going to stand the test of time, that aren't going to be, this diet and that fad. Mm-hmm. And again, we first did this talk again, I think it was 2012, 2014 when we really started putting this one together. I think it stood the test of time pretty dang well.
Yeah.
But I think it hopefully this isn't you, right? Hopefully this isn't you. Sometimes Coach and I get like this because of all the different things that are constantly coming out, books and fads and, study here and study there. But at the end of the day, even more important than what to eat is really asking yourself, why do I eat, right? I think a lot of times we're making bad decisions because we're bored or we're sad or we're upset, right? Or we're lonely, right? Or what other emotions? You resonate with that one?
Yeah, there's an emotional component to eating. There's an emotional component to everything we do. So understanding why we're doing something is always essential. But keep it simple. Keep it simple. Real, whole, unadulterated food. Protein, fats, and carbs. That's all food is. And if you can eat the healthiest or best versions of those together, you're going to be fine.
Yeah, well said. Keep it simple. And again, if your kid is dealing with something and you've been feeding them a certain way, like you can't beat yourself up about it. Now that you've went through this, just do better. Yep. Thanks, Maya.
That's a great one.
If you need help, we're always here. We should have some stuff up on our website. You can always call and schedule a free consult. We do that over the phone. We do that in person. And we always help point you in the right direction. And we don't care if you're in Southwest Florida or if you're somewhere else, always be honored to help you. If you want to take it a step further, we do firmly believe that blood work is the individualization that healthcare needs, and having the skill, the talent, the understanding to read that blood work for optimization, not just to see if you're in a normal range, but to optimize it. That's the thing that Coach Kaysen is absolutely incredible with and changing people's lives with every single day. So lots of different ways that we can help you, ranging there from pretty conservative to I'm all in. We'd be honored to help you. Mm-hmm. Anything you want to say on that, Coach?
Well, if you're confused about what to eat, blood work is the way to figure that out, because that will guide when to eat it, what to eat, how to mix it, what to, timing and everything. So it's a door opening into your cells and your metabolism and how to figure all that stuff out. So yeah,
a lot of hopefully simplicity in the talk today, but we're also incredibly complex, and it's so hard for us to find that balance. Most of you, if you've never gone through nutrition stuff, this is, again, like drinking out of a fire hose. Mm-hmm. If you've read a couple of the books that we shared, you might not have picked up anything new that we said today. But again, blood work is what gives each person kind of the keys to the kingdom. We know exactly what's going on. So again, if you're out there struggling, don't know for sure what diet, what supplement, if this is helping, if this is hurting, if you've tried all the things, talk with Coach. On that note, you guys, always want you to remember that the best doctor in the world lives inside of you. True health is within, and we love you. My name's Dr. Cade. This is Coach Kaysen. Man, I didn't mean to steal that from you. Do it again. Do it again.
Coach Kaysen.
Love you guys. You can find us online, LIFEstrength Health Center.com.
Peace.